All right, folks. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. We should be ready to roll here in about another 2 minutes. All right, welcome in everybody. Welcome in everybody. Um, this is the first episode of the official Blue42 podcast. Unfortunately, we're missing a couple of people. It was supposed to be me and Xavier. But however, he has something personal going on right now, so he will not be in this episode's pod, so it will just be me starting off the new era of the Blue42 podcast. For those of you guys that have been to a podcast like this before, we used to be called the Unscripted Podcast, but I realized there wasn't enough marketing in that name, so I decided to change it. There's something in my hair. Don't get an afro, it's overrated. Okay. Yeah, there was something in my hair, guys. But let's get back on topic. So, welcome into the Blue42 Pod. I'm your host and internet personality, Rel. And buckle up because we have one hell of a show for you guys tonight. I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking. There's like 3 cameras and I'm looking at the wrong one. So, I'm going to just keep looking at the main camera. How you guys doing? All right. So, before I get into any news, anything, one thing that I want to say is I'm pretty sure some of you guys have heard about the Cal Baptist CBU and the way that the program ended. I think it's bullshit. I get it on the fact that the program needed to make, not the program, but the university had to make concessions to uphold certain rules and regulations when it comes to the male and female ratio of sports at the school, how much funding is spent in each department. But cutting a wrestling program that the men on that team fought so hard to keep, and it's not as if you didn't have other avenues and other methods and ways that you could have kept CBU wrestling alive. It's the fact that you completely flat out ignored them, ignored their pleas, ignored their cries, kicked them and forced them out, knowing full well you could have made a compromise somewhere. I just draw the line at the sand in that. Like, you guys have to do better, Cal Baptist. Do better. And if you're a wrestler, I encourage you to take a look at the programs that you're going to invest your future in and find one that's right for you and one that doesn't look like it's about to go away anytime soon. Some programs look like they're on shaky ground and they last. Some programs look like they're going to be unbeatable forever and then they collapse. Some programs look like they can hold their own weight and then a new rule gets implemented, something changes, and then the program gets cut. Happened with Cleveland State. I had a friend that went to Cleveland State. One of my old teammates actually went to Cleveland State, and the program ended up getting cut. He just stayed at the school to stay in class, but it's just things like that. We have to do a better job we need to do a better job with the sport growing as quick as it is. To be losing a program every other year, it seems like it does not compute. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. So CBU, please do better. And I hope and pray that you guys don't treat your other athletes the way you treated the wrestling team when you cut their program. That was cold, it was callous, and it was uncalled for. But on to today's opening statements. We will cover the Cleveland Browns, America's favorite team to hate on. All right. So, SHEDEUR Sanders, in other news, is changing his number from number 12 back to 2. SHEDEUR Sanders is changing his name to his... He's changing his college number, but he's changing... Let me stop. SHEDEUR Sanders is changing his number back to his college number 2. Now, if you guys know, when he came to the NFL, there was another guy who wore this number instead of him, DeAndre Carter. He was the one that had number 2 last season, and SHEDEUR could not get the number up off of him. I'm pretty sure he wanted that number badly. He couldn't get it, but he's got it now. And he also has a chance to earn the Browns starting spot at quarterback this year. It's up for debate, and it's been hotly debated amongst all the huge platforms. First Take, Speakeasy. I'm pretty sure there's more. I just don't really care. Nightcap, that's another one. But Browns owner Jimmy Haslam sounded off on QB Deshaun Watson during the owners' meeting. And he said Watson has a pretty good chance at being QB1 for the team this season. Head coach Todd Monken said that they will factor in what happened at the end of last season, as well as dropping some hints on the potential order of the QBs heading into training camp. It's also worth noting that QB Dillon Gabriel has not been seen around Berea, while both Sanders and Watson have been spotted working out in the Browns facility. Now, I don't think this is as big of a deal as people are making of it, right? I mean, when SHEDEUR got drafted last year, he wasn't at the Browns facility all the time. He showed up within the first week, but he was getting his workout in it at other local high schools, open fields, and I don't really see the need for the quarterbacks to be in the facility as much, but I can understand where the disconnect comes, seeing as you have a new head coach, Todd Monken. He just brought in his own staff, right? Obviously, you're going to want your quarterbacks to at least meet the new head coach and get affiliated with that staff in the program that you guys are planning on running. So I can see on that aspect why it's a bad thing that Dillon Gabriel hasn't been in the building. But I don't see it being that big of a deal where you need to just discount Dillon Gabriel and say he's done and he's not going to have a chance. Now, personally, I feel like Dillon Gabriel is quarterback 3, and he will remain that way until otherwise. Unless he is traded, unless he is cut, or unless he moves up the depth chart. He started out last year as QB2. He begins this season as QB3. SHEDEUR Sanders started last season as QB4 and begins the season as the potential QB1, tied with Watson, who's also potential QB1/QB2. The way I view it, I'd put SHEDEUR number 1, Deshaun 2, and Gabriel 3rd. And the reason being not because... Can you not itch? Thank you, buddy. Thank you. The reason being because I just don't see a world where Dillon Gabriel is going to make the Browns win football games. You want to win because of the quarterback, not in spite of him. And that's exactly what the Browns had to do with Dillon Gabriel and SHEDEUR Sanders at times last season, which would make you think that I'm rooting for Deshaun Watson. As a Browns fan, having to deal with Deshaun Watson, that was the worst trade in NFL history, and it's not even close. I'm so ready for them to close the door on that Deshaun Watson chapter and move on. I don't care if he has another 5 years in the tank where he could be a top 5 quarterback. I don't want him on my team. It's a constant reminder of what we gave up and what became of our team. We were a playoff team. Super Bowl caliber with Baker Mayfield, at least for that 1 year in 2020. And you blew it all up for a guy that blew out his Achilles twice. His shoulder literally fell apart during a game, the Baltimore game, where that was the only game since he's been in Cleveland where he looked like 2019 Deshaun Watson. That is the only time Deshaun has ever contributed to this team. And I'm sorry to say, but even if he does bring back some of his old magic, I don't want to see it, and we don't want to see it. I'm speaking for all Browns fans here. This is not objective. This is personal. We do not want to see Deshaun Watson, Jimmy Haslam, Andrew Berry. We don't want to see him. We're done. We're through with it. Now, obviously, that's just my opinion, and that's just the sentiment of most Browns fans. Most of us are ready to see what SHEDEUR Sanders has. But until the Browns front office and the coaching staff gets aligned in that mindset, in that frame of mind, we will not see it happen. And I'm okay with that. If Deshaun Watson has to play week 1, they deem him as the best quarterback to win us the most games, I'm fine with that. I just don't want to see it. So don't expect me to turn on the TV and watch those games. I will just catch the highlights. I don't want to see him play. I really don't. Deshaun Watson just has his odor around him. You know when you walk past somebody that just got that musk and they just smell. That's what Deshaun Watson got around him. He's got that man musk. But it's like you get home from working a 9 to 5, but let's say you're working in a warehouse. So you're working in a warehouse from 9 to 5, and it's just hot. And everybody has that one coworker that smells. And throughout the week, they progressively smell worse. That's Deshaun Watson. That's what it's been like for the last 4 years he's been in Cleveland. Every single year, it's gotten worse. Since 2020, it's gotten worse. Or was it 2021? I think it was 2021. Either way, we're done with Deshaun Watson. We don't want to see him. Jimmy Haslam, if you're considering playing Deshaun Watson to get some type of return on your investment, it's done. It's cooked. Throw it out the window. We don't want to see Deshaun. It's over with. Please, let's not open that can of worms anymore. And then Andrew Berry dropped a soundbite that had Browns fans panicked about a potential extension to the worst contract in NFL history. And I would play it for you guys right now. I don't have it. So when the video actually gets released, I will chop it up and drop it in here. But my thoughts on that is it's similar to what I already said. It goes back to everything I just said before. We as a fandom are done with Deshaun Watson. We don't want to see anything that comes with 4. I don't want to see anything that comes with 4. I'm done with him. Let's move on to the young guns. We have SHEDEUR Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. No one wants to really see Dillon Gabriel. I'm not opposed to seeing Dillon Gabriel. As long as he can win games, I'm not opposed to seeing Dillon Gabriel. Where my problem comes in at is when you want to put Deshaun Watson ahead of SHEDEUR Sanders. I can't get down with that. The kid showed a lot of promise, a lot of erratic behavior as well during those games, but promise. Let him show what he can do. With a full off season, a full training camp to get ready, prep as the number 1, bring in some receivers, Carnell Tate in the draft or Jordan Tyson, Francis Naungo, however you say his name, that offensive tackle. If you're going to get Monroe Freeland, you better not draft him number 6 overall. I just think that, Malachi Lemon, that's another good name, another good receiver that I feel like we should go up and get. Just don't draft the quarterback. If they draft Ty Simpson at all, I will burn this hoodie. If the Browns draft Ty Simpson, I will burn this hoodie. And you guys can come back and quote me on that. If they draft Ty Simpson, I will burn this. Well, not this hoodie. My grandma bought me this hoodie. I will burn the Browns t-shirt that I bought. The only other Browns gear that I got, I will burn it all. Except this hoodie. That's what I will do. If they draft Ty Simpson. Because we don't need to bring Ty Simpson into this mess. He's not the answer, and he will never be the answer for Cleveland. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. And if you believe Ty Simpson is the answer in Berea, you're wrong. You're wrong. And you're probably the only person that thinks that. Just like when they kept bringing up all the other quarterbacks who could replace SHEDEUR Sanders, Anthony Richardson. They brought up Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, Michael Penix. They were even bringing up Tanner McKee. What are we doing? What are we doing? As a fandom, as the media, especially the media. Browns media is some of the worst I have ever seen in my life. I'm over it. I can't deal with it. Every time I cut on the video, every time I cut on some audio, and I want to see what they're talking about, see what the topic of discussion is, Every single day, I kid you not, for a month, all I'm hearing is, would you rather have blank insert name or SHEDEUR Sanders? Kirk Cousins, SHEDEUR Sanders. Dylan Gabriel, SHEDEUR Sanders. They're on the same team. But you get my point. Why are we dragging up all these old names to replace somebody who has shown you that he has the potential to win games? We know that Dylan Gabriel cannot lead a game-winning drive. We've seen it. We've seen it. And we've seen SHEDEUR lead a game-winning drive. Week 18, Cincinnati. He's done it. He has done it. So I think that we need to give him a chance. Even if not this year, next year. The only problem with that is, if you draft the quarterback next year, are you going to start him or are you going to start SHEDEUR? And if SHEDEUR plays good enough next year, are you going to start the quarterback the next year, or are you going to have to trade him? Like, it muddies the water a lot. And we already have 2 young quarterbacks in this QB room. I don't think we need to add a third. I think we need to develop the talent that we have in the room. And yes, that includes Dylan Gabriel, even though he may be a low ceiling guy. High floor, low ceiling. That may be the case. But I don't think we need to add another quarterback to that mess. At least another rookie to that mess. But moving on, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to overreact to some headlines across the sportsverse. That's what I'm calling it. Starting in Philadelphia, Eagles GM Howie Roseman, or owner, I forgot which one he is, approached wide receiver A.J. Brown and... Wait, let me do this again because I need to get it all in one take for the YouTube video. Hey Siri, is Howie Roseman the GM or the owner of the Eagles?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to overreact to some headlines across the sportsverse. Starting in Philadelphia, Eagles GM Howie Roseman was approached about wide receiver A.J. Brown during the NFL owners meeting about his future with the team. This is how he responded. I don't play the clip, but I don't have the clip. So I'm going to say, he said, A.J. Brown is an Eagle. End of story. End of discussion. I don't know how to feel about that. A.J. Brown has been very vocal about what he wants without saying it. How can you be vocal without actually using your words? He's been using his facial expressions. He's been going on podcasts. He's been playing Madden on live stream, talking to streamers and people. I just think A.J. Brown is fed up. And there was a report that came out today about Jalen Hurts and how much he's been audibling, changing the plays, the line of scrimmage, and how it's been affecting their offense, and how in that playoff game against the 49ers, on that 4th down play that ended their season, Jalen Hurts wanted to do 4 verticals after they just ran it on 3rd down. And then they ran it, and the season was over. I think A.J. Brown is valid with his anger, but I don't think a change of scenery is what he needs. If he wants to win, if he wants a Super Bowl ring, if he wants a chance to be announced amongst football royalty, he needs to stay right where he is in Philadelphia and help the Eagles win another Super Bowl. That's my overreaction to the Eagles. Ty Simpson. His stock is rising in the 2026 NFL Draft. He is the consensus number 2 quarterback in this year's draft, but he is potentially moving up and down draft boards, with some analysts having him going high as 6 to the Browns. Personally, I don't see that happening. He was asked to do a lot with a less talented offense at Alabama than in previous years. Personally, once again, I don't believe he will go to the Cleveland Browns. If I had to guess, he just got done with a private workout with the New York Jets. I would assume he's going to the Jets or the Cardinals. Any other team that needs a quarterback except for Cleveland. The reason why I don't think he's going to Cleveland is because, yes, he has ties to head coach Todd Monken. But Todd Monken seems to really like SHEDEUR Sanders. And he also seems to really be intrigued by Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's going to add Ty Simpson as a third wheel on this already burning quarterback carousel. We don't need Ty Simpson. If I had to guess where he's going, he would probably be a late round selection to the New York Jets. That or the Arizona Cardinals. If I had to guess. But then again, the Jets will be back in the top of the draft next year. So I would assume that they'll probably wait until next year to draft their guy in the top 10. And I would assume it would be Arch Manning. The march for Arch has not stopped, and you can tell. You could tell with head coach Aaron Glenn when he said Geno Smith, by the way, will lead them to the promised land. Yeah, maybe the promised land is the number 1 overall pick in getting Arch Manning. Because I can tell you what it is not. A Super Bowl ring. On to the next headline. It comes from the NBA. The NBA has voted to expand the association with 2 new teams exclusively in Las Vegas and Seattle, potentially joining the league as soon as the 2028-29 season. Adam Silver has encouraged many arenas and cities located in these areas to bid for these franchises. The NBA's very own Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors, however, took to socials to say there simply isn't enough talent in the league today to warrant the addition of these expansion teams. Honestly, I think Draymond Green is wrong. There is plenty of talent in the NBA to expand. And I can name a couple of players right now, some in the G League. You got Bronny James. You have, what's his name? Mac McClung. I can think of some role players in the NBA right now. Dalton Connect off the bench for the Lakers. The Brooklyn Nets have a bunch of young guys, but they're not really that great. Michael Porter Jr. when he was with the Denver Nuggets, for an example. Bol when he was with the Denver Nuggets, for an example. The Boston Celtics have a deep bench. There's plenty of role players. Tyrese Maxey is another one that when he was on the Sixers at first, he wasn't starting. He earned his starting spot. Jared McCain is a player who was on the Sixers as well. That's what I meant to say. Jared McCain, who was on the Sixers. He was starting for a couple of games, then he got moved to the bench, and then he got traded to OKC. Now he's also on their bench. He would be a player to look out for if these teams were to be added soon. I would expect them to make some trades for these role players because those types of players, those high-end ceiling guys, like a Rob Dillingham, who haven't really had a chance to play good and solid minutes in the NBA, they could go to these expansion teams and potentially earn minutes early and be key pieces to these teams' futures. So I believe there is plenty of talent in the NBA to warrant these expansions. There's plenty of talent to warrant these expansions. And I look forward to seeing these expansions happen, especially as it pertains to the new draft coming up. There's so many high prospects. So many prospects that could go number 1 overall that these new teams that are going to pop up, they are going to want to get these prospects. They're going to want them. And the teams that are going to be in position to draft these prospects may not even need them down the line. The San Antonio Spurs, they drafted Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, all back-to-back years. And look at where they're at now. De'Aaron Fox is an all-star, and he's only averaging like 20 points a game on that team. It's just how much talent that these teams are collecting now. Every team in the NBA is getting better because the talent pool is getting better itself. So why not expand the league and make it more fun, more creative, and add these new teams to throw off the balance? I think it's a good thing. All right. And I think this is our last topic of the night. The association is under fire after Adam Silver's 65-game rule has backfired. The rule was implemented to halt teams from utilizing load management to keep players fresh. It states that a player must compete in at least 65 games a season to be eligible for all NBA honors and awards. There are contingencies in case of injuries, but only if said player has played at least 62 games and completed at least 20 minutes of in-game action. Meaning if a player plays 61 games and limps off the court in the first 19 minutes and is unable to return to the game or unable to return to another game for the rest of the year, they are no longer eligible for all NBA honors. This current list includes players like LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, and Jalen Williams. There are players at risk of missing All-NBA honors, and those players are as follows: Tyrese Maxey, Nikola Jokic, Cade Cunningham, Victor Wembanyama, Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Anthony Edwards. The list goes on and on. A rule like this is detrimental to the league. It punishes players for a system the NBA proposed to limit injuries to the well, not the NBA, but it's a system that NBA teams implemented to prevent injuries to their best players. And it's kind of crazy to me that this is really a debate and it's a topic of conversation. This rule needs to be abolished, in my opinion. Not only is this a problem, but you have players rushing back from injury and re-injuring themselves. I mean, there's a record rate of 24.6 games are being missed per year by the average NBA player. And then there's reports of players like Cade Cunningham who's trying to rush back from a collapsed lung just so he can maybe stay in MVP contention. And then there's players like Tyrese Maxey, who's played the most minutes in the NBA, but because he hasn't played more than 62 games this year, he is ineligible for NBA awards at this current moment. Rules like this, they allow too many things to slip through the cracks, and it's just a detriment to the league. Mainly speaking, how long the season is, a lot of these players can't stay healthy for a full 82. They just can't. And I think that the NBA should either do one of the following. They either need to cut the season in half, limit the amount, maybe not in half, cut the season down to like maybe 70 to 75 games, or even down to 62 games, 65. About 65 to 70 games a year, right? And then I think they should eliminate this rule altogether or change the wording, right? Make it to where they have to play at least 45 games a season to be eligible for NBA honors and awards. I feel like that's a good threshold. Because if you can't play 45 games in a season as an NBA player, then maybe that would be grounds to not qualify for all NBA awards. I understand it. But nobody wants an all NBA team comprised of LaMelo Ball, John Morant, I'm going to just throw out some random names, Cam Thomas, Michael Porter Jr., and Bol Bol. I mean, yes, these are all good players, but they are not first-team NBA players. They're just not. And it sucks that we're having to do this, but at this moment in time, we're having people go up for awards that they should not be getting. Like, if you have a player like Con Knuppel, who's a rookie, right? Let's say he gets enough votes and every player ahead of him is injured. Kind of like a SHEDEUR Sanders to the Pro Bowl thing. He will get a first-team All-NBA vote. He'll get put into the first-team All-NBA ballot knowing he's not better than most of these players. But it will trigger a clause in his contract that will give him so many incentives that he did not earn as a rookie, as a second-year player, as a third-year player, as a rotational player, as a role player, as a sixth man. Things that they should not be earning, awards they should not be getting, they will have access to and be in those conversations simply because the best players in the league cannot stay healthy because of injuries or off the court concerns. I just don't think this is a solid rule, and I think it needs to be abolished or handled in a different light. Because a rule like this is only going to cause more problems than solutions. And that is my personal belief. But anyway, that's it for tonight's pod. It was a short one. I know nobody really came through tonight to really say what's up, but it's okay. It's cool. It's fine. I'm going to chop these videos up, make them into a couple of different videos, post them, and hopefully get some more traction to the channel and get some more steam going. I appreciate you guys for sliding through if you did. Deuces. This has been Blue42. Say hut, and I'll see y'all in the next one, hopefully with my co-hosts. Bye-bye.